When to use static routing? It's used for table management on smaller networks that are expected to grow. Routing from stub networks is accessed by a single route, and the router has only one neighbor. Using a single default route to represent a path to any network does not have more than a specific match with another routing table. Default routes are used to send traffic to any destination beyond the next upstream router. Static routers are not advertised over the network, resulting in better security. Static routes use less bandwidth than dynamic routing protocols. No CPU cycles are used to calculate and determine routes. Static route uses send data is known.
Disadvantages of static routing. The initial configuration can be time consuming because you have to enter all the numbers by hand. Um, the configuration is prone to errors, especially in larger networks. Administrator intervention is required to maintain change in the router information. Um, it does not scale well with growing networks because the maintenance becomes lengthy and requires a lot of time. And it requires a complete knowledge of the whole network for proper implementation.
There's standard static routing, which is supported by IPv4 and IPv6. There's default static routing, and it's the default route that matches all the packets to one. And the summary, it reduces the number of routing table entries and summarizes it to a single static route.
Then there's dynamic routing. Dynamic routing is a network technique that provides optimal data routing. And dynamic routing is when you don't have to manually put in the routing information. The routers will do that by themselves. And since there's minimal configuration and the routers are able to communicate with each other, there's not a lot of maintenance to it. It's good for topologies with multiple routers like this one. So it would be very hard to do static routing on this because there's loads of routers. So inputting each individual IP address would be very hard. The disadvantages of it is that it's not really secure because IP addresses are shared throughout the entire throughout all the routers. And since routers have to communicate with each other, it uses extra CPU power, RAM, and link bandwidth, and it can be more complicated to implement. Any questions?
Anthony.
Huh?
Question.
Can you tell me about the standard value?
Oh my God. The standard routing is supported by IPv4 and IPv6, and it's useful when connecting to a specific router network.
Kyle, do you have a question?
In what ways would you attempt to secure a network like this that's using dynamic routing?
Well, since it doesn't do it by itself, you have to actually go in and manually put it in. That's another disadvantage.